everyone. Thanks for coming to listen, and thanks to Brand Innovators for having us all up here today. I'm Serge, the VP of Sales at Spotter, and at Spotter we are the home of creators and really fueling their creator growth on YouTube. So excited to talk today as we work at Spotter in the brand partnership space. We have some amazing company up here that we're going to dive deep into that world of winning with brand partnerships, as you heard, but also focusing in on innovation and authenticity and how those two big factors play into what is successful within brand partnerships. So with that, I think we're all ready and we're going to kick it off. We were waiting for our walk-up music, but didn't happen, so we'll just go right in. Beyonce was not with us. There she is. So today, as mentioned, we're going to kick it off. Jaime is here with Kellanova, and we're going to talk first. The panel is each going to share a little piece about their specific brand success, but really thinking about the innovative and kind of authentic path to these brand partnerships is where we're going to go. So Jaime, when you think of Kellanova and the work you guys have done in that brand partnership space, can you help us with a successful brand partnership and something that has really stood out and really helped you guys kind of stand apart?
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be here. For anybody wondering what Kellanova is, it was formerly Kellogg, the cereal company, snacking company. We divested from each other at the end of last year, so now there's two separate companies. I work for the global snacking part of the organization, which is Kellanova. So I'm excited to be here with all of you today to share some of the amazing work that our salty brands and our Pop-Tarts team actually have done. So you guys have probably seen the Cheez-It Bowl over the last couple of years, and this past year was our first time venturing into a new brand, and Pop-Tarts entered the market, having their own bowl for the first year. And I'm honored to be here to share these results because they're exciting and phenomenal, but please know I alone did not do this work. There was a massive team, internal and external, who made this happen. So yeah, I just wanted to share, we had the advantage of going through a few bowls with Cheez-It, and so by the time Pop-Tarts came into the game, we had a lot of really great learnings of what works and what didn't work. And what I really loved about the way that the Pop-Tarts team approached their first bowl is they came in with a challenger mindset of, let's look at every single college football ritual through the lens of what would we do as a brand and our brand equity. That was the heart of every decision that team made. Everything from making decisions on what distinctive assets were used, what channels and tactics we showed up into, and how we deployed that out through our organization. And the team did an amazing job of really keeping that at the heart and soul of everything we did. Also knowing that Pop-Tarts is not maybe something you think about when you think about football, right? So the team spent a lot of work at looking at the audience, both the viewers and the non-viewers. Who are those people who might be watching a game with a loved one that isn't maybe interested in watching college football, but there for the fun? So Pop-Tarts did a great job of really looking at what are those rituals that we can find and break into new occasions, because Pop-Tarts is traditionally a breakfast food. So we spent a ton of time leading up to the event looking at how do we touch consumers in this digital world, right? Both physical, online, in the digital ecosphere, but then also at the event, at the game itself. And the team did just an amazing job of leading up. We had a frosted strawberry mascot there. I don't know if you guys saw this. So obviously that's the heart of our brand equity. That's who we are. But that mascot showed up in a toaster on the field, right? The way that it came through was taking all of our distinctive assets through and through. And that announcement of that mascot started really early in the partnership, which started sparking a lot of conversation and excitement around what Pop-Tarts was going to do. But the team took that so much further. I don't know, a lot of you probably work in very complex organizational structures. We do too. We have a lot of silos across our organization. And one of the things that, looking back and reflecting on what the team accomplished, that I'm really proud of as a Kellanova employee is how well the whole organization rallied around that event. Everything from the brand team to commercial strategy. I lead our digital consumer experience team from more of a promotion and website and that owned aspect, all the way to our away from home team. We actually had, at the event itself, Pop-Tart ice cream that you could try at the game, just to create new occasions and new spaces. So really thinking about how do you look at all those rituals of college football, how do we expand our occasions within that mindset, use a lot of the traditional forms of what we do, right? There was really great UGC, really great influencer content, but really making sure that our brand was at the heart and soul of everything that we did. And you saw that come through all the way through the lead up of the program, all the way down to the aftermath. It was our best program ever at the company when we looked at the results of engagement, purchase intent, share growth, everything through and through, all the way down to that consumption experience. It's just remarkable to see what the team can do when you have a nugget of an idea that puts your brand at the center of it, which who thought Pop-Tarts could play in college football?
No, I love that. Thinking of innovation and how we all are challenged every day to think differently, cut through the clutter, grab the attention, literally think out of the box, and do something fantastic. So thanks for sharing that, and definitely if you haven't seen the great work, please make sure you spend some time because it was pretty remarkable. So Phil, we'll go to you next and really talk to you here about Shinola and talking about, what success you guys have seen in brand partnerships, and if you could share a little bit about the work Shinola is doing there.
Yeah, thank you. So I've been at Shinola for about 16 months now, and we've executed a handful of pretty thoughtful partnerships. So last year we were the official timekeeper of the Detroit Grand Prix. We did a collaboration with Dos Jefes, which is a local brand in Detroit where they upcycle clothing. To date, I think they've upcycled like 200 tons of clothing. We have a partnership with Noe House coming out that kicks off next month. We just did a collaboration with Quincy Isaiah and his latest film, Grasslands, comes out in June. And then this week we launched a partnership with Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson with the New York Knicks. So the team's been busy, we've been really busy, and I think one thing we've learned in the last 16 months is that there's a lot of noise out there, right? So it gets harder and harder to kind of cut through. And specifically within partnerships, what we find is like best in class is that I like to call it like 1 + 1 = 3, right? Where the whole of what you're doing has to be greater than any just one part of it. And then I think a lot of times, people will approach these situations and they only think about the benefit for themselves. And I think, you really have to look holistically when you think about partnerships, and, when you try to develop meaningful partnerships, there has to be more elements than just one thing.
Love that. Thank you. So EJ, we'll go to you, and we'll talk about innovation and fueling transformation within some of the kind of transformation you guys are experiencing over at Fanatics right now with your recent move to Detroit. So please welcome him as he's 3 weeks in to Detroit. Welcome, EJ. Yes. And talk to us a little bit about how innovation has fueled that evolution for you and your team and the events kind of focus that is growing and launching within Fanatics.
Yeah, sure. It's great to be here, everybody, especially as a resident of Michigan, 3 weeks in, as she mentioned. Look, I'm part of the Fanatics events business, and it's a new line of business, and there's a number of new businesses at Fanatics right now, so things are happening fast and furious, but innovation is at the core of why all these new businesses are kind of getting off the ground. When you think of large-scale, immersive events that exist today for communities, you have Coachella for music and art, you have South by Southwest for film and education, you have CES for technology, but there is no singular platform for sports. And it's kind of surprising to think about, like, why does this not exist for sports today? Thankfully, Fanatics has the assets kind of at our disposals right now to become that singular platform. So what you'll see from us is we will launch Fanatics Festival this summer in New York City. It was announced a few weeks ago. Our first stop in the US will be in New York City. And this will become that singular platform for brands to make big announcements, for athletes to make big announcements, for athletes to promote their off-field ventures. And think of Comic-Con meets Complex Con meets the National. That's what Fanatics Festival will become. We think of sports meets culture meets collecting, right? All of those things colliding. And again, it was a void in the market that Fanatics was uniquely in a position to fill. And that's what drew me to the organization. And when I learned about the team and kind of the direction the business was going, as a sports fan who not only likes NFL football, but like the NBA. Our first event this year was actually WWE World at WrestleMania. I wouldn't have said that I was a wrestling fan before that event, but I'm definitely a wrestling fan now. And it's like, look, you put all of those ingredients together under one roof, which will be the Javits Center in New York City this August. Like, that just sounds like an experience that I don't want to miss out on. And so the opportunity for brands and partners, not only our existing partners, but new brand partners is, it's white space, which is super exciting. And all of it was, again, driven by the need and, the void in the market.
That's great. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing the activation. So Nicole, we'll go to you and talking about the innovation and kind of different thinking recently at Jeep, and how when your team was thinking and kind of going to go beyond their traditional brand direction, with how you guys kind of went in for a big hitter and his badass wife, by the way, and how that kind of surprised and went a little bit further than what the brand normally had for Jeep, and how you guys got there, what your thinking was, and then we'll show some of that to the audience here today.
Yeah, so we were challenged to bring a new vehicle to market, and Jeep has a storied name. So if I ask any of you in this room, what's a Jeep? I can tell you, you're going to draw me a box with a roof that comes off and doors that come off, right? That's what a Jeep is. We actually have much more than that, and we can offer much more than that, but people don't know it. So we were given this vehicle, let's bring Wagoneer back. It's been 30 years. Bring it back to market. Same question, what's a Wagoneer? Half this room will say, I remember that. My parents had one, my grandparents had one, my neighbors, and it had wood grain on the side. Half the people in this room will say, I have no clue what you're talking about, and why should I care? Right? It's been a challenge. We have fond memories, but a lot of people didn't know what it was. So we had to bring it to market, and not only that, we had to bring it to market against Escalade. So I feel like I'm outnumbered by my GM friends, a couple on the panels, talking about Escalade and Cadillac. But we had to find a different way. We weren't going to beat them at their own game, right? They're pop culture, just dynamos. They do such an amazing job and have for years. So how did we get into the market? And our white space was to infuse Jeep into it. So as a brand, we're about community, and we're about making amazing memories. Now you can do that through adventure. You can do it through the freedom of having the roof off, the top off, and you can just do it by being with your family and friends. So that's what we wanted to infuse into this launch. But we needed a partner, because people weren't going to just believe us that we're building this premium vehicle. So we had to find a premium partner who wanted to do the same thing. He was coming back into a market where he was known for one thing, but he wanted to be known for something different. And it couldn't just be one person. We're about community, we're about family, so we wanted to bring family into the fold. So we started talking with Derek Jeter about where he was with his career. He fit the same values of our brand. Family, authenticity, making these amazing moments. And he had this new path as a father and a businessman. Yes, we know him as a baseball player. Most of us have one of the best shortstops of all time. But he wanted to be known as more than that. So he was going to help us make our vehicle known, and we were going to help bring him in to what his new future and his new career is. And that really was a lot about his family. So it wasn't just Derek, also brought in his wife, Hannah Jeter, who in her own right, amazing model. She's been a host, she's been at Sports Illustrated. I mean, she can do it all as well. So they came in together as a package. It's not a Derek Jeter program, it's a Jeters program. And then we showed them with their family, and we helped bring the vehicle to market in a way that felt premium because of our premium partners, and a way that got some attention. The earned media behind it was absolutely amazing. Our PR team did the right thing by bringing in lifestyle media, because car people want to talk about cars, right? Let's do that. We've got probably some car people here. Lifestyle don't want to talk about cars. But when you have a partner that will infuse car into every conversation, it's like, hey, talk to Derek about his family. Great, hey, I've got 3 kids, now he has 4. He needed a car that would fit 4 kids, right? You can't put Corvettes are beautiful, but you can't fit 4 kids in it, right? So this was very natural to his life, and he drives one every day, and he creates content out of one, and that's just part of his day now. So it's not a push, there's an authenticity there and a connection. So they're the perfect partners for us. We've got a quick reel we'll show you in just a second, and you'll see a couple of pieces together. One is introducing the campaign, right? Why Derek Jeter and Jeep? So we had to put those pieces together. So it's almost like a TV show where you have to introduce the characters first, right? Then it gets good. So you'll see that we introduce the characters. Then it's a story that's true to real life. So in our first shoot with Derek and Hannah, it was getting to be 10:30. We were way over time. They should have left hours ago. And we kind of answered to leave. What's going on? They said, no, every time we're gone, we always want to get home in time to take our kids to school in the morning. It's very passionate to them. They want to be there to see their daughter after school. So that became a creative idea. So
All right, so we're going to move on to authenticity and how that's kind of interwoven into successful brand partnerships. We talked a little bit about breaking through, grabbing the attention, surprising and delighting with a mascot, which is fantastic. And really thinking about the world we all live in and the problems we're all solving for and showing up to all of our great clients and partners with. And the real challenge we have is authenticity and being able to break through and find that authentic connection. And where we talk about, and we've all talked as partners on the stage, we talk a lot about this at Spotter, finding that authentic connection between your content and the fan, between sports and a sports fan. We call them fanatics because let's be real, we're all one in somewhere in our lives, that things we believe in and really follow and love. And it's really finding that connection in marketing and everything we do all day that matters. So talking about successful partnerships is finding the amazing talent, finding the way to break through, the way to really connect, but really making sure that it's authentic. And the really amazing work that you guys have done here, true to your brands, is that authenticity spot where it meets that connection. And where we like to talk at Spotter is where the fans of creators like a Mr. Beast are truly that meaningful connection. They are so deeply following this content, these creators, these sports fans, these brands, this food, your accessories, and really making it meaningful. So we want to talk next, and we'll talk with Phil. Let's start with you. I was going to say we can share. And talk about how Shinola has been so true to that authentic brand. You talked a little bit about how you're showing up in different ways, but how has this authenticity really stayed true to the Shinola mission and how you guys really use that at the forefront?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one thing I always say is like what you say no to is just as important, if not more important, than what you say yes to. And I think for us, like, we're lucky enough to have such a defined brand, right? We stand for craftsmanship, we stand for, quality, we stand for design. So those things are always just kind of at the forefront. And when we think of things, it's like, all right, how do things ladder up to one of these pillars, right? So anytime, we're working with the team and they bring me things, I'm always like, the first question is why? Why this? Why now? Why this project? Why this opportunity? Why this collaboration? Why this partnership? And you start asking why a lot, and you'll get to the point where you realize, oh, maybe this isn't the thing for us, right? So I think that is super important to know, what you are and what you stand for. And, for us, like, for the Grand Prix, right? Obviously it's back, last year was his first year back in downtown. It was a big moment for the city. But for us too, it's just like, think about racing. Like, these drivers' careers are built off milliseconds. If they could shave 0.2 seconds off this turn and this turn. So that time component really just connected with us. And as the official timekeeper, we thought that there was such a genuine connection there. And to be able to kind of tell that story through that. And then on the other end of it, with the partnership we have with Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson, you have two guys coming out of, Villanova who weren't, they were just gritty, they played good defense, like they weren't sought after, right? And they kind of embodied the ethos we have as a brand and as a city that we really liked. And, to get even deeper into some of the kind of data around it, New York is our second biggest market after Michigan. So we knew that it was an opportunity for us. We haven't activated the brand in New York as much, so we thought this would be a good opportunity. And luckily for us, we signed the partnership before this year's success. So that's just been a benefit, kind of catching those waves. The team has been playing really well. Jalen I think he might even finish like top 5 in MVP voting this year. So those are just some of the things that we always try to figure out, like what is it about the partner or the collaboration, and how does that tie up and ladder to the brand? And then those are the things that we focus on. So that's how we're able to kind of keep true to ourselves.
I love that, and the authenticity also that your brand has to Detroit. And when people think of your brand, they think Detroit.
Yeah, and it's
what they're doing.
100%, right? And like it's a thing for me where it's just like we are, we're here. We're always going to be here. The factory's literally 1.5 miles up the street. We make watches there every single day, and Detroit's a big part of what we're doing, and it's going to continue to be a big part of the brand. So we're happy to be here.
That's awesome. And then on that note of authenticity, we don't have a ton of time for everybody, so we can pick between who wants to share next. Just being authentic to your brand mission, and how that's really helped with the business and staying true to the consumers.
I'm just gonna say one thing about the edible mascot.
Please tell us more. Tell us more.
81% of media coverage for college bowls was around mascots. 81%.
That's wild.
And we had 8 times the media coverage than the other bowls because of it.
That's amazing.
So sticking to your core equity and doing it in a unique way, right? Like
Yep.
we also had the Pop-Tart bites in the dump bins on the coach after, and the trophy had the slots for the Pop-Tarts coming out. There were so many unique ways to bring the food to life in that moment, but trying something different and really interesting and allowing fans to engage with that through the experience. They got hyped about it. People are asking now, what happened to it? Like R.I.P. Russian strawberry, what happened? So there's a whole story that needs to be told there now as a brand. But yeah, I think to your point, just sticking to your brand equity and thinking about clever ways to make it fun and engaging for consumers is going to win every time.
That's great.
And I think for us, Jeep, we consider ourselves a brand of authenticity. I think everybody does. But if you look at a Wrangler today and a Wrangler 80 years ago, you see 7 slots, trapezoidal wheel wells, all the same things. So even as design has evolved over the years, we've never changed what's core to our brand. And that's the same with our audience, and it's the same with who we look for in partnership. So we have these values of freedom, adventure, authenticity, and passion. And anyone that we speak with, any brand that we work with, we build that same list of values for them and make sure everything aligns. If they don't align, they probably don't work with our brand. Because what's most important to us is not even the vehicles themselves, but the lifestyle and the people around it. And community is absolutely huge. I mean, how many people in this room have gotten a Jeep Wave? Or given a Jeep Wave? It can change your day. I remember being in a bad mood and driving out, and I took the roof off. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be good. And someone came and gave me a Jeep Wave. It changed my day around. It's something silly, right? Like, hop up a couple of fingers and move on. But the Jeep Wave is something that the community built themselves. So back to what Joel said earlier about the Walker Hayes song, he watched it first. Where was it gonna go? Okay, the community built it. That's what makes it valuable. The Jeep Wave, the community built it. It's not ours. We don't own it. We don't own the brand. Our fans and our owners own the brand. It's our job to be good shepherds of it. So we watched the flip, the Jeep Wave. Anybody ever gotten a duck? We had nothing to do with that. That was an owner. That was an owner who saw COVID and said, hey, things are kind of dismal. I want to bring some joy. So she started the ducking movement. Her name's Alice in Parliament. We had nothing to do with that.
You have to tell us what that is, because some of us don't know.
Oh, so ducking. So ducking is a thing. Alice in Parliament started it a couple of years back during COVID, and it's basically putting a little rubber duck on a Wrangler that you like. And it started as Wranglers, now you see them on Gladiators. People are even ducking Renegades, Compasses, any vehicle that has 7 slots and says Jeep on it. And it's just a way to bring joy to other people. So it's silly, but people do custom ducks. You can buy Jeep ducks on Jeep.com. But it's really something the community brought to life. So that's part of the reason that authenticity is so important to us, because we need to be true to them. They'll tell us when we're not, but it's very important for us to be true to our audience and be true to ourselves, and that's how we pick our partners as well.
Love that.
Look, I think when you look at the Fanatics business, everything was built on the commerce side of the house, right? We have, when I look at the numbers, just because I'm 4 weeks in and I'm still making sure I got my numbers right, 100 million fans who buy products on Fanatics.com or one of our team sites, which is an insane number. 900 sports properties that we work with, 900 plus sports properties and teams, 2,500 plus athletes. So when we made a move into collectibles, it made sense. It made sense for the fan because they were already coming to us for, memorabilia tied to their favorite team. So when we started to introduce new Topps products or new Bowman's products, it made sense. When Fanatics opened the doors for Fanatics betting and gaming, right? We'll be live in 20 states by the end of this month. It made sense. It was part of the digital journey for sports fans. Not only were they buying memorabilia, were they buying jerseys and hats, but they were also placing bets, right? Same logic applies for our events business. Again, we believe that fans are thirsty and want a place to gather and drive their fandom and interact with other fans and potentially be introduced to new sports or new fan bases that they're not today, like myself with WWE a few weeks ago, right? And I think when you're put in that environment and you have an experience with a new product, but it makes sense because I'm already placing an online bet, or I'm collecting cards with my kids, or I'm buying jerseys because yes, I just moved to Detroit, but it's going to be hard to knock me from my Denver Bronco fandom. It makes sense, and so that's kind of what we're up to at Fanatics.
Perfect. Right on time. Look at us.
Right on time.
Right on time. You like that? You did that. I love it. So I think we're good because we're.
I believe so, yeah. Do we have any time for maybe one or two questions? I want to make sure we're on track here. At least one question in the crowd. Anybody have something? That's right.
Nicole, in this day and age of direct-to-consumer media now, how do you take a TV commercial, and those are fantastic, and I love Jeter, of course, and translate that? How do you use it for direct-to-consumer connection?
Yeah, so for us, we have a lot of lanes. I think the days of shooting a commercial are gone, right? We all create content. That's what we do. And it's important from minute one, the minute you put it together, is how can this be used in as many places as possible. So that's a lot of what we do. So we worked in that particular shoot. We clearly had our television work. We had a still shooter on set. So we were able to get all of our horizontal and vertical photography. Vertical is very important. We had to get all of our verticals there at the same time. And then we met internally as a team every channel. How are we going to push this out? How are we going to do it as an integrated approach? And integration is so incredibly huge, usually more important today than ever before. So we're able to do that. Also, the value of a great partner is when they authentically talk about you as well. So just being able to have Derek go out on his channels, which he just started. When we started working with him, he had just started his social channels. So that was a new one because he was growing his audience at the same time and being able to have that value. And then just the PR, just a strong PR team. So it really was a fully integrated approach. From PR to our team to the media buying team, so media people in the room, thank you. I mean, you make our jobs better. So everything that you do to buy the media, to find those right placements that make sense. And when Derek signed on with Fox Baseball, we went out and bought a baseball package. So just really nice connections along the way to get that message out.
I feel like this is such a strong group of panelists. Maybe you have time for one more question. Might get yelled at, but I feel like this has been such an engaging conversation. Laura, thank you so much for leading this, and panelists, thank you all so much for joining us.